Hi everyone, and welcome to Substance with Dolapo. I am Dolapo Awoshika. Once again, you know why I'm here. We're talking and sharing opinions, ideas with ourselves. Guess what I want to talk about today? I want to talk about that thing that we don't like talking about. That very, very thing that offends a lot of us. That thing that is just like part of us. But still, we do not and have not centered enough lights on it. Guess what it is? Body odor. Yes, body odor. I can bet my life at one time or the other you have perceived, Yoruba would say, you have heard the smell of the odor at one time or the other. Look, let's go. No, it's not even a joke, honestly. Let me be serious here. It's not a joke. It's a very important thing that we need to look into. And it starts from a very young age. This is where I think people get it wrong. Do I need to say what is body odor? Do I really need to explain to anyone in Nigeria what body odor is? Not even only in Nigeria, across. We know what body odor is. It exists, it happens. Even sometimes the people that you least expect to have that kind of issue, they have it, and there you are. You cannot tell them because they're higher than you, they pay your bills, or they're the ones that are buttering your bread and you can't say it, and you just sit down there quietly, almost collapsing from that offensive smell. And then also, when you go out on the market, which I completely understand, you know, people are sweaty, people are in the sun and stuff like that, but then really, is it an excuse or a natural cause? That's the angle in which I want to look at body odor today. Is it an excuse out of laziness, out of lack of looking after yourself? Is it bad hygiene? Or is it something that some people are just blessed with? Because I wouldn't say cursed with. Some people are just blessed with. That's the angle in which I'm going to be treating this particular topic today. Now, for example, I was discussing this with a friend before I started filming, and what I said to her was, I said, you know, sometimes we miss it, and we miss it because some of the people that grow up and end up having this horrible body odor are those ones that maybe their parents didn't teach them how to how to bathe properly. It could be that. The question I want all the mothers out there to ask themselves is, have you ever sat down to teach your child how to bathe properly? Or we just assume that a child will know how to bathe properly. I think 70% will say they've done it on assumption. We just assume that, well, they see you bathing, you get a sponge and you scrub yourself and you rinse yourself. Sometimes they think, oh yeah, you came out of the bathroom too early. It's not how long, it's how well. And that's something that we really need to focus on. I believe that from the age of 5, 6, a child, especially girl child, should be taught how to bathe properly. It is very important. Now, body odor is just the, I would say it's the overall word for this offensive smell. But believe me, there are other odors that can come out of the body, which I'm not even going to go into. You know, so I think it's very important that, you know, you take your child, you teach your child, you explain to the child what they need to do and how they need to do this. And also, now, in Nigeria, we live in a very hot country, and I think we have taken it for granted. You know, some people say, oh, the Oyibo man does not bathe every day. Yes, he can get away with it because it's not cold out there. It's cold out there and it's not hot. So he can, if he's not sweating and he doesn't feel slimy and gritty, he may not have his bath. But here in Nigeria, everybody should bathe at least twice. NEPA also, that is a Nigerian power holding company of Nigeria. They contribute to body odor in my country. Yes, because there's never lights. There is hardly ever light. And how many people have access to be able to come out of the bathroom after they've had their bath and walk into an air-conditioned room and be able to have and have the luxury to cream their body and stuff like that? So they contribute as well to this issue of body odor. Also, I think what I'm treating right now are some of the reasons, or shall I say causes, of body odor. I don't think anyone should have body odor. I don't think so. But at the same time, it's something that we have to deal with in this country. Not only this country, actually. It's something that we have to deal with. And one thing we have to understand is, what are the causes of this body odor? Body odor is something that affects both the rich, the poor, the learned, and the ones that don't know. I think so, because I've seen executives with body odor. Believe me, you know that mark, the sweat mark under their arm. Even though they're sitting in the AC, they move from one AC house into the AC office and then into the AC car. And then when they raise up their hand, you see the mark there, and then you think, whoa, what happened to you? Now, those people, I don't know, is it because they don't have their bath properly? Is it because they don't know? They can't afford a deodorant? Is that why? Perhaps they're the ones that are blessed. You know, God has a way of blessing us in different ways. I have a personal experience with a very good friend of mine, and when we were young and everything, very clean girl, you know, we all bathe, we all have we take a bath before we go out. She clean, decent looking girl and everything, but please, the body odor was horrendous. And we couldn't tell her for years. I mean, I was friends with her from a very long time. We couldn't tell her for years. So we were just like, when she comes in and everything, you can always tell when she's around, because I think it actually precedes her. And nobody could tell her. And then something happened one day. We all went out, young girls hanging out. We went somewhere. We went to see a couple of guys. And as soon as we walked in, there was one of them that lacked total decorum. And he was like, what's smelling? And I was so embarrassed that day, and I'm thinking, no, this can't go on. Someone's got to tell her what's going on. And I called her and I spoke to her. I said, girlfriend, we need to do something about this, because it's beginning to affect me and I can't keep quiet anymore. Of course, she was very, very upset. She was offended. She didn't say anything. She just said, oh, I didn't know. And she didn't speak to me for like 6, 8, 9 months. You know, I made every effort to talk to her, to explain to her. Of course, she didn't argue. She wasn't rude or anything. She just decided that she didn't want to be my friend anymore. But I think later on, she realized that, you know, her mother had not been able to tell her. Her boyfriend couldn't tell her. Her sisters and her brothers could not tell her. And that's how she was going. And you know what? The next time I ran into her, she wasn't like that anymore. And I'd had to put up with that horrible, offensive body odor for years. I'm talking about 6 to 7 years. What if I'd had the common sense then to just tell her? What if I had? And she didn't even know. So when we talk about body odor, we really need to understand that some of us we take things for granted, and I think that's a huge problem. We take things for granted. You get a house girl that comes in. I've had house girls, I've had house helps that when they walk past, the whiff is terrible. You can't even escape it, you know. But some of them you tell them, they get upset. Some of them you tell them, they take it on board. Some of them you tell them, and then you are now an enemy. You know, but I think it's not what you tell them really. I think sometimes it's how you tell them. I've had another experience. I had someone amongst my domestic staff it was very poignant, if you know what I mean. And what I did was, when I traveled, I just came up with a lot of short deodorant, plenty, and I blessed them with it. I think he kind of like understood where I was coming from, because you know how when someone is driving you, the driver is driving you, and you know the sieve where the air conditioner comes out from. Sit down and think of this, because I'm sure you've experienced it. And then all of a sudden you take off, and then the air conditioner kicks in, and then you know the AC blows up, and then the whiff blows right underneath their armpits, which is directly in front of your face, and that thing hits you. You know what I'm talking about. It can be a very horrible experience. People laugh about it, people joke about it, but it can be very embarrassing for the person who has the body odor, and it can also be very embarrassing for the people who are around or with the person that's got body odor. Because if I digress and go into relationship, imagine if you have a boyfriend that's got body odor, if you have a girlfriend who's got body odor, how do you communicate it? How do you tell someone you love that their smell is not very nice? How do you say that? How do you say that? So what I think we really need to try and concentrate on is the causes. and how to communicate it, and perhaps if there's a solution. I'm not sure. I think someone once said to me that it could be health problems. I'm not sure, but I think I've heard something where they said you can have a condition where you just smell. I've heard that before, but predominantly I think lack of good hygiene is actually what is the cause of body odor in Nigeria, especially if I'm going to center on Nigeria, because our climate is hot, and we tend to wear a lot of, there's this fabric, I can't remember, I think it's not rayon, there's a polyester, that's the name of the fabric. You see, polyester fabric, do this experiment. No matter how grand you are, how clean you are, whatever perfume you use, when you wear polyester for a long time, you just kind of smell. Even I do. And I used to think, why does this particular top smell within 2 hours, even when I'm not sweating? It's the fabric. So there are certain fabrics that you should not even wear in a hot country. Talk less of, keeping it for a very, very long time. And then some people will not even wash it. They will still put it back on again the next day. So there's so many ways to look at these things in order to be able to understand what the real cause of this body odor really is. But if I'm going to go back now and summarize on everything that I said, I think it starts from childhood. Let's teach our children how to bathe properly. Let's let them understand that it's very, very, good hygiene is very, very, they say health is wealth. Good hygiene is very, very important. Don't take things for granted. Do not just leave your child to the care of the nanny that already has a body odor. Your child is going to grow up bathing like them and then end up having body odor. So let's try and make sure that we do that. And also, let's encourage ourselves as well to manage and have good hygiene. There's nothing we can do about the electricity in our country. So you're not going to ever be in a position where you are constantly under the air condition or you have the fan and everything. But I think if you're conscious of the fact that smelling body odor is a crime to another person who is with you, because then you're subjecting them to it, and out of ethics or not wanting to offend you, they just keep quiet and then they go back and then they make fun of you. So I think it's something that we all have to, it's not about who you are, where you are, what you have, or what you earn, or where you live or anything. I think it's something that we just all have to, as a nation, think about and look for ways in which we can manage it. I'm not going to say too much on body odor because I may come back again to talk about it, but I think it's a huge problem that we have in this country, and it's something that we all have to find a way to address. I hope by saying this, I hope maybe the government will do something about it, how to encourage people to perfect their hygiene, or perhaps they will give out things. Sometimes you go out in places where they just give you deodorants, they share it, and they're trying to get across to someone. But nevertheless, till we meet again, if you do have someone who's got body odor, like I said, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Find a quiet moment, call them, explain to them, let them understand, encourage them to do something about it. It's not about laughing at people or making fun of people. Well, the ones who are lazy and refuse to bathe, well, I wouldn't say laugh at them, because really it's not really your place. But then I wouldn't concern myself with those ones. But the ones who genuinely try but still have this problem are the ones that I think that don't just let your friend go off with a horrible body odor. Call them and tell them. I think in the long run, they will appreciate it. And then with the kids as well, teach them how to maintain good hygiene. And also with yourself as well, be careful of the fabrics you buy to make your clothes, because sometimes some of them just smell. I speak from experience. So till next time, same time on Substance with Dolapo Awoshike. Don't forget, make sure you smell fabulous. Take care.